Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us episode 185 for May 18th, 2016. My name is Russell Frost from whatdrives.us. I am your host for the evening. My co-host Danny Cooper is in Egypt exploring tonight, and will hopefully be back with us very soon. So, but in Danny's place, no, that's not true, because you know what? Even if Danny was here, we would still need these guys desperately. Luckily, I have four high-powered panelists ready to dissect the happenings in advanced tech transportation this week. And let's start from the guy with the fancy pop filter on his microphone, our man in Oregon, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello from Oregon, where 36 years ago, we had a really great view of Mount St. Helens exploding. Happy Mount St. Helens Day, everybody.
That's right. It was May 18th.
Wow.
Which today, May 18th, is also the day that I got my Leaf. So 5 years ago, I became a Leaf driver.
On Mount St. Helens Day.
Yep.
You know, how many people can say, you know, X number of years ago, a very famous volcano blew up in my state?
Well, I was next door, but yeah. We got enough ash that I'm just going to claim it.
You can claim that one.
Yeah.
I think you can claim that one. Fairly. Next to him, at least on my screen, is another man, but he's near mountains, but they're not blowing up, hopefully, ever. Our man in Boulder, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, glad to be back from the lovely, clean and green state of Colorado.
Very green.
How do you mean green?
The greenest of green. And the man who just spoke, our man in the Midwest, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hi, everybody. I have a bit of Illinois news. So finally, after being threatened with not being able to travel anywhere at any time, Illinois has finally decided to update our driver's licenses to now meet federal regulations. The deadline for this came as a bit of a surprise for people. They only had about 7 years' notice to implement the changes, which seems like a long time. But when you drag your feet and you're throwing your governors in prison, that just speeds right up on you.
So Tony, are you telling me that no longer will Illinois driver's licenses be ink on paper with a cartoon of the person in the corner?
Well, we're not allowed to anymore draw our own. Pictures.
Where's the fun in that?
I know. However, it's the way they're doing it is almost comical, because you go to get your new driver's license, they give you your old driver's license back with a hole punched through it,
Right.
and they give you a piece of paper printout. And then they say, and this is the best part, the office will send the applicant's information to a secure facility in Illinois for a fraud check.
What?
Now, if you follow Chicago news, then you know there have been some locations that are very secure in that that's where they interrogate the people and sometimes never come out again. And so this whole thing is kind of weird.
I think I'm glad I'm not in Illinois. Well, let's move on to a place that I would like to visit. Our man in Canada, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. And just a little bit of Canadian news here. Apparently, a recent study has revealed that 48.7% of Canadians would consider an electric or hybrid car the next time they make their new car purchase.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they didn't even ask me. Nobody asked, nobody called, nothing.
Wow.
That would have been like, that would have at least added another like 0.001 to the.
That's how you guys got the coolest prime minister on the planet.
Yeah, Mr. Selfie Prime Minister.
Well, I've heard that 48.7 of all statistics are made up, so.
So we're well within the margin of error. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, come on. I told you guys a million times, don't exaggerate.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hate it when
hey, Mark, did they put those fires out yet in the oil sand?
No, it's still burning in Fort McMurray. Luckily, it's outside the city, so it's not affecting humans at this point.
Yet.
Yeah, it's really too bad.
Yeah. Very sad.
Yep.
It's a horrible fire, and another reason why leaving it in the ground isn't such a bad idea.
Yes. And I know that we didn't plan on covering it, but we have another BP oil leak in the Gulf.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So I'm sure you're hearing about that in
Yeah,
Florida.
I did. I saw that it was a mere 2,100 barrels, and I seem to remember Deep Horizon starting out the same factor. So I went, okay, so it's really 210,000 barrels.
You're right. Right.
And
That's-
I've heard it's killed some dolphins and sea lions already.
Yeah, how could it not, right? Oh, I'm sorry. There actually is sea life in the Gulf. Kind of. Yeah, it's interesting because there's like there's
Or
a
at least
thing
used to be.
in Tampa. Yeah, there used to be called the shrimp docks, where the shrimp boats come in to bring shrimp in, and every time I think, oh, fresh shrimp, that'd be
Ooh.
BP shrimp.
Drizzled with oil.
Right.
Yum.
Right.
You just throw them in a skillet. They're already
Pre-seasoned.
dry up.
Yeah, but I mean, the cool part is, I mean, for the most part, oil I think floats, and the shrimp walk across the bottom, so I think they're safe.
Right, that's
Until you
exactly
pick them
how
up
that.
and then they get coated as you pull them out of the sea.
I held a straight face as long as I could.
I was just going to say you have a future in BP.
Yeah.
department.
Right.
PR.
Customer relations.
I think so.
Put your butt
Well-
out, you did work there.
You guys want to cover some news this week, or I mean, I don't care. We
I thought
can-
that was it.
No.
This is
I think the viewers and the listeners probably care a little bit.
All right.
So let's you know what? Let's start off with a couple little things from me, and we'll move into the more interesting stuff. One of my favorite sites is a place called streetsblog.net. They cover streets and anything about them, and the first article that I grabbed from them this week is about the feds changing some of the guidelines that they previously imposed on cities for highways. You know, like if you've seen, like it's 16th Street or it's Lathrop Avenue, but it's also State Highway 23, right?
Mhm.
Well, if it is also State Highway 23, along with that comes a whole plethora of rules. The traffic has to move at a certain speed, and it has to be signed in a certain way. And a lot of those rules basically were set in the 60s and the 70s and were designed to make traffic haul ass, to put it bluntly. Where I just came from, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, is wrestling with a lot of those. In the 70s, they had taken a lot of the old, narrow, two-way streets, and to comply with these federal regulations, they had to make them one way so the cars could move faster, and they eliminated some other stuff so the street was a little bit wider. And what happened was people started driving a lot faster, and all of a sudden it's a throughway through a quaint little town that's dense packed with old 150, 200-year-old houses. Not necessarily a great way to it's a great way to pass through the city, not so great for the people who live there. The feds have dialed back 11 of these 13 regulations that force cities to do this, to keep traffic going at a faster rate, and remove some of the signage, because I got to tell you, the signage is terrible in Pennsylvania. This also affects streets that are walkable. It affects sidewalks, and it affects bike lanes. So, all in all, one of the few times you'll probably hear me say deregulation is good, but striking these rules down was a good thing for local municipalities that want more control over their streets to make them more like urban streets. And urban streets should be very walkable and very bikeable. That's my opinion.
Yes, we have this in Chicagoland, of course. There's a lot of highways, and the highways, back in the day, there would be a little burb or a village would, grow up because it was out, removed from the city along a highway. And then, all the growth caught up to it. And now you have these state highways that pass through these, like you said, 150, even 200-year-old villages, or at least 100-year-old little towns, and it has become very difficult to just walk and cross the street because the cars are just constantly zipping, and Yes. So this struck very close to home to me because I like to go walking, in the evenings in the little quaint little burbs, and it's hard to do when you have the cars zipping along. I applaud this because it will make the streets more pedestrian friendly instead of more car friendly.
Yay, pedestrians!
And a lot of places, like, cars won't even let you cross the street, Like
Oh yeah.
Route 22 in New Jersey, it's like, it should be a secondary road, but cars are going 70 miles an hour, and if you're a pedestrian or a cyclist, forget about it. You can't cross the street.
So it's a live game of Frogger, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Live action Frogger, which is no fun at all. Well, speaking of no fun, let's go to Patrick Connor for our
Speaking of lies, this article is titled "Someone on the Internet is Lying About Electric Cars." And let's see if I can pull up this image that they've been... Yeah, if you can scroll down to the mining image, if you can. Yeah, there. I'll share it up too. Yeah, so if you look at this picture, there's this horrible mine, and it says, "This is a mine where lithium is extracted for electric car batteries," and it's just desolate, devastated.
But they don't use that lithium for cell phones or laptops.
No, just for electric cars, you tree-hugging bastard.
It's actually worse. If you read the article, they explain that this is a copper mine. It's not even a lithium mine.
Right.
But somebody seeing this meme going around the internet's not going to take the time to research this.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a picture below that of a nice forested area where they say, "This is an oil sand site in Alberta."
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Well, and if it was forested, all the trees would be burned right now. So.
Right. So, yeah, Russell, you can show the stuff there.
Here's a couple of oil sand sites.
Yeah.
Right. So this article goes through and shows you the real thing on both of these. So with lithium mines, lithium is generally extracted from salt brines, and those are pumped up out of the ground and put into large tanks where they dehydrate, and then you can get the lithium out of them. You can also get lithium from desalination, so it's a byproduct of making water that we can drink. So it's I'm not going to say that all lithium mining is perfectly pure and clean, but the difference here is if you compare tar sands, that's something that gets burned and has to get mined or pumped or drilled again, and then we have spills like we talked about at the opening of the show. Where with lithium, once you have that extracted and you have it in the system, it doesn't get consumed. When your car batteries get old, they can be used for home storage. When those finally wear out, the batteries can be recycled, and that lithium can be made into new batteries again. It doesn't get consumed, it doesn't get used up, just like aluminum cans. When you take aluminum cans and recycle them, they're made back into aluminum cans. Very much the same thing here with lithium. So, yeah, someone on the internet's lying. And we see this over and over again.
Right.
Doesn't
but I heard on the internet a Hummer has less of a carbon footprint than a Prius.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that one,
That's
too.
the Outland Institute.
I remember that. That was the
Bastions of Truth.
The dust. Oh God, what did they call that?
It was dust to dust study.
No,
I think it was the dust to dust study, wasn't
I
it?
remember Art. What was his name? Art Spinella.
I don't know.
Oh, started that one. Classic.
But I of course remember the pictures of the Sudbury mine.
Yeah.
And this is where your Prius batteries come from.
Right.
Just a little bit of research revealed that the picture was taken in something like 1976.
Right.
And and the mine had been closed since.
Well, I like
the
the image of the lithium mine as a copper mine, and everybody's house has copper. Everybody's, everybody uses a ton more copper than lithium. And if you're really against that, don't use anything that touches copper.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, and the people that pass this stuff around aren't against either mine.
Right.
That's
They're just trying to make a point.
The disingenuous part is that the people who pass this stuff around, they're drill baby drill people. They don't care,
Right.
whatever. Who cares what it looks like? What they're
Right.
trying to do is just discredit somebody who has a different point of view. And
Right.
God knows we all have like a grandparent or a wacky uncle or, and I've seen this on Facebook at least half a dozen times.
Right.
Oh, we have a wacky uncle running for president.
Yeah.
Don't talk about Bernie like that.
Hey, let's keep politics out of the show.
Yeah, please. Oh, dear God, please. On that note, let's see. What should we go to next?
Well, I can talk about Colorado politics.
Why don't you talk about Colorado politics, Paul?
Okay. So specifically, the EV bill was rewritten this session in the state, whatever, assembly. It's good and bad. They've lowered the maximum state rebate on EVs from $6,000 to $5,000. And they've removed they're removing the rebate on used EVs, which kind of sucks because Colorado was the only state that had a rebate on used EVs. So if you're in Colorado and you want to buy a used EV, buy it before the end of this calendar year. You have until December 31st, 2016 to still get the old rebate. The good news is, as of January, if you buy a new EV, the state will give you $5,000. And instead of buying the car at full price, waiting 3 to 15 months to do your taxes and applying for the rebate and waiting to get a rebate check, they will take it off at the time of purchase at the dealership, which is pretty effing cool.
Wow.
That's the way it should be.
Yep.
Does that work on the motorcycles too?
I haven't read the new interpretation of the law, but perhaps. So the cool thing is you could go into your friendly EV car dealership, buy a new car, and they take it right off the top, and you don't have to do a whole lot of paperwork. You don't have to wait a whole long time, and you get $5,000 off your EV. So pretty cool for Colorado.
That's
And
totally
that can be
awesome.
combined with the federal one as well?
In addition to the federal.
Okay.
Wow.
So if you qualify for the federal rebate, that's $7,500. So you're talking $12,500 off a car. That might be $32,000. That's a significant savings.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. But Colorado's always been very aggressive. I mean, even these reduced benefits are still pretty good.
Yeah, no, and it's actually, for a new car, it's great. It's actually easier because you get the money sooner. You don't have to do as much paperwork.
Right.
And actually, in the old system, you'd have to pay sales tax on the full price of the car, and I
Right.
believe that gets factored in, so you actually save a little bit more because of the sales tax savings. So I haven't read the whole new thing. It just got, actually, I think the governor's just about to sign it. But it's a cool program, and one more reason to be in Colorado.
And it does make the initial car even just more affordable. I mean, one of the discussions I had with coworkers a while back, I was mentioning state and federal rebates, and they said, "Well, that's great, but I still have to put the money up front."
Right.
Yeah, like the federal rebate, you have to, unless you've leased the car, you have to pay the money at the time of purchase, and then you get it back on your taxes if you qualify. If you don't make enough money, you won't get the full federal rebate, or if you're retired or whatever. Where the Colorado rebate, doesn't matter what your income is, you just get it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's
for
very cool.
retirees, that was a real problem. If you didn't have income and it was only a tax credit,
Right.
You couldn't take it.
And surprisingly, there's a large number of seniors and retired people buying EVs because they have kids and grandkids, and they want to make a statement that they want the Earth to be here for those grandkids.
Right?
Oh, that's silly. The Earth will still be here.
Well,
Right. Their grandkids just won't be.
the humans may not be here.
Yeah.
It won't be inhabitable, but it'll be here.
Who's gonna put flowers on the grave, right? Oh,
Wally and the Roaches.
that's like a song lyric, isn't it? Well,
Anyway, so.
that's awesome, Paul.
Yeah.
Very cool
Yeah.
news. And
I'm
and that
moving.
only. I'm sorry.
Said I'm moving next month. I'm going to move to.
Exactly. I was just going to say
Yeah,
that
you have
only
to be a
applies to
Colorado
Colorado.
resident. Yeah.
For how long? A year before that kicks in, though, right?
Well, the new program starts January 1st, 2017. The current program is in effect till the end of this year, which gives you even on a used car, as long as it's never been in Colorado, registered in Colorado, you get the battery size percentage discount up to $6,000. So, for example, if you buy a used Nissan Leaf with a 24 kilowatt battery, you get 24% off the selling price. And used electric cars are selling for 10 to 12 grand, so you get 24% off of that if you buy a car by the end of the year.
That's insane.
God. Now, okay, is the state paying for all this through pot?
Yeah, I guess, they're certainly making a lot of taxes from pot revenues.
They're just trying to figure out what to do with this money. They're just like, hey, look, found money.
Right.
It all goes into and comes out of the same pot.
Yeah.
Only one kind of smoke we want here, and it's not exhaust.
There we go.
There it is.
I was waiting for that. Well, let's move on, and I think Tony has a story for us.
Yes, for the obligatory Tesla story. We have to have
since Evan Fusco wouldn't condescend to come on this week.
Right. Yeah, we have to, apparently we have to have one Tesla story a week. This one was actually messaged into us by Philip Barclay. So I'll have to give a shout out to Philip. And he sent us a lot of messages. I don't know if you guys watched
a lot of messages. Thank
the
you,
YouTube
Philip.
videos and stuff. Yeah,
Right.
really good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's totally cool. But it's like, I'll look and it'll be like, there's 5 messages. I'm like,
But I thought this is extremely interesting because what they're talking about is and it's from Bloomberg. It's entitled "Why Tesla's Mass Market Car Should Scare Mercedes and BMW," and this is one area that I don't know if we overlooked it, but we've often compared the Model 3 to things like the Chevy Bolt or the Nissan Leaf or other $30,000 to $35,000 vehicles. And what this article is saying in Bloomberg is that Tesla's reputation and their quality, I guess, I would say, but just the way that Tesla is held as a luxury car, especially because they have $100,000 cars. But now there's the concern that people who would have spent $45,000, $50,000, or $55,000 on a BMW or a Mercedes or an Audi or a Porsche will probably save their money and buy a $35,000 Model 3. So, I mean, that's
like a $45,000 Model 3 because they'll option it up.
Right, they'll option it up, exactly.
To get an earlier delivery and because they got the money.
Yeah, and so, the article goes into this and it has quotes and, has a good chart that shows the high-end overlap. BMW is the biggest impact with 27.6% of overlap. Of course, as we know, 83% of statistics are made up. I mean, at least 40% of people know that. But the article is pretty good. We'll have a link to it. But yeah, take the time to read this. And I just thought that it was an interesting insight, like I said, into something that I don't know if we overlooked it. Or we didn't think of it.
No, it's true. I mean, the Tesla cachet, like to get what used to cost $100,000 car for 35-ish, it'd be like buying a Mercedes for $20,000 or something. It's
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Toyota and Honda are up on that list really, really high too. I mean, I realize that's not the point, but. This little graph here is the share of Tesla shoppers in March who also looked at other brands. BMW tops the list. Toyota's in second place.
Yeah. With the Avalon?
Tesla's eating their lunch because the last thing they want to do is lose all of that top-end business.
Right.
There's a lot of profit in there.
But I mean, you get some of the Toyotas like a Highlander optioned out, limited leather, blah blah blah. $55,000.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And Tony, we have talked about this, not specifically related to Tesla before on the show, but friend of the show, John Vogler, had an article talking about how electric cars they're smooth and they're quiet, and these are things that people look for in luxury cars. And so there were people that were buying them for that reason. Even the Leaf and the BMW i3 that would have normally spent $10,000 or $15,000 more on a car, but this was the one that had the features they were looking for.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. I just I do remember that conversation.
That sort of speaks to, I mean, what Musk has been really good at, and our friend Evan Fusco, is that aside from just being an EV, it also is a really good car. It's very safe. It's very fast. It's got lots of features. It looks good. You know, which other car companies, they don't make you do the like, oh, okay, I get a safe car, but it's got to be ugly. You know what I mean? Or I get a lot of features, but maybe it only comes.
Or I get a fast car and it's too loud for me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And where's the
fuel
Tesla?
efficiency and no speed.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of people turning to things, let's go to Mark Coughlin. I think he has a story, not related to this one at all, but nonetheless an interesting story.
Yes, it appears that maybe the light has come on for Honda, Toyota, and Hyundai. There has been a report that they have started to realize that, you know, maybe putting all their efforts into fuel cells and ignoring electric drive could be an issue. I don't know who turned on the light for them, but there has been some concern with the...
You know, they're secretly listening to our show.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
It's obviously us.
Right.
They didn't listen on purpose.
They have indicated that this unperceived climb in plug-in vehicle sales of over 40% in the first quarter of 2016 has completely caught them off guard. So they have decided as a group that now they're going to start pushing on EVs and pushing them out, plug-in models, a lot more quickly than what they had first thought of, apparently last quarter of last year. So
is it because collectively they've sold 12 cars?
That might have something to do with it, possibly. That might be something else to add to the pile of knowledge that they have summoned together.
The pile of knowledge. Is it a steaming pile of knowledge?
Fuel cell facts, perhaps.
It's somewhere Jeff Bloomberg has his hand deep into it. What's his name? Goldberg.
Jeff Bloomberg? What's Jeff?
Oh, damn it.
One of those bird guys.
Jurassic Park?
Jurassic Park. What the hell is his name?
Goldblum.
Goldblum. There you go.
Yes.
Wow, all of a sudden it's free association time. Like, well, Tony, that tells me that maybe you're thinking about your mother too much.
Is it just the second time in a row I've used Bloomberg in a podcast?
Yeah.
Just not to cut Tony's rambling off, because it is entertaining, but to reinforce Mark's point, I wonder if only there was a weekly advanced tech transportation show that maybe made this prediction, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
I can't think of one specifically, but I don't know why it's taken them this long to figure it out.
Exactly. There's nothing about this that is complicated or weird or hidden or subtle. This was a strategy that these car companies went at, and they're still going at, full force. Millions and millions of dollars. And I'll be interested to see when Toyota actually swerves. I haven't seen them swerve yet. We'll see.
Listen to this nice little quote. While the talk of fuel cell technology being new and the future method of green propulsion still continues, there has been little progress due to the extreme costs behind its development and the need for a reliable, deep fueling infrastructure coupled with sparse public interest.
Right.
Sparse is polite.
Yeah.
That is a gravestone. If you don't know what it is, that is a gravestone.
So there's going to be a little bit of there's something is going to be interesting. I was going to say there's going to be a little bit of backpedaling or a little bit of something, because didn't one of these companies just recently release and announce, not release, but announce a late this year release of a already underwhelming plug-in hybrid? I can't remember the stupid name they gave it. Yeah, I mean, here's an article saying that Toyota's rethinking their plug-in strategy, and they are planning on releasing the plug-in Prime with, 22 miles of plug-in range?
An underwhelming 22, yes.
Yeah. And so
it does have
you know what that means, though? That means that the Prime Plus is right behind.
double Prime? Can you double Prime? Would it be
No, the Prime H2 that runs on hydrogen.
Yes.
Oh, no. The Optimus Prime.
There you go.
That would be the Hyundai Optima Prime, I think.
So it's interesting, and I think I have to dig back, and maybe next week I'll have it for the show, but I noticed there's a Jim Lentz quote in here, and I know I mentioned this on Prius Owners Group. He had just recently talked about how they were very confident about hydrogen and the Mirai, and I noticed this quote in here that says, quote, "The next iteration of extended mileage is probably going to be plug-ins because that takes the least amount of R&D," says the guy who's been spending millions on hydrogen R&D.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they ran out of the Kool-Aid.
You know what?
There you go.
I almost wonder if maybe this quote and the one that I'm referring to just doesn't say where the direction change is not coming from where it should come from. Maybe it's coming from the top. You know?
Possibly.
But
Or maybe
still,
California is saying, we're not going to give you credits for selling hydrogen cars, so you can sell big pickups and stuff.
Right.
I think the Model 3 reservation list was a huge wake-up call.
Yeah,
wow,
that's
more popular than the iPhone? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Right. He collected how much in deposits? Right.
Yeah.
But a car that doesn't exist.
Right. We've got to put our cars on sale under a striped tent. He collected how much in deposits for a car that's not going to ship for 3 years?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's got to hurt. I mean, that's really got to be like a wake-up
how many
call.
people signed up for a Mirai deposit? 6?
Right.
Wow.
I'll take the under on that 3 years, Russell. One beer bet right here. Mount St. Helens Day.
I wouldn't. I didn't say that in a sense to demean Tesla. Maybe they'll do it in under 3 years. Maybe they won't. I know that they've hired some people and they've made some moves. They talked about selling some more stock to try and gear up to get these cars out faster, which, again, I think makes a great deal of sense. When I posted, or you posted something on the What Drives Us Facebook page at facebook.com/whatdrivesus, where I said, yeah, I mean, that's just Elon going, listen, the earlier we start delivering these cars, the earlier we're going to start cashing bigger checks.
Right.
Exactly.
They'll be able to capitalize on those deposits. They won't fall away. Yeah, I hope you're right, Patrick. Nothing make me happier to see that car come out in 2.5 years.
Well, and if their Gigafactory can't keep up, there'll probably be another big factory in Nevada they can take over in the future.
Yes.
Well, speaking of that factory,
Yes. What about our contest?
wait, contest. What did I forget?
We had a
had a-
contest last week.
We had a contest last week, and I think that
No one entered.
all of our entries won.
That's it. Every entry gets a prize.
Yes.
I think you know what? All of a sudden, I'm mad at our viewers and listeners, and I really shouldn't be. That's probably not a good attitude to have. So let's tell a good Faraday Future joke. Funny, the guys at The Verge, which is not one of my favorite sites, and I don't know why I mentioned that, because really, who gives a shit what I think?
It is one of my favorite sites.
You're allowed to. You like Business Insider, and I don't like them.
It's true.
And Seeking Alpha. Not a big Seeking Alpha fan. That's okay. I like the Verge was apparently having a beer, and I quote from the sub-headline, having a beer with the secret of car companies, head of manufacturing, which, frankly, I just could give a shit about. Honestly, like, if you think that's the second most important thing about this article, already I'm a little concerned, Mr. Hawkins, about what your priorities are.
In the picture, the other guy looks so interested.
Oh,
Hold on.
We give beer a lot of attention on this show, so I'm okay with that comment as well.
Absolutely. It's another like sad Faraday Future thing where they talk about their silly styrofoam race car that cost them $2 million. Excuse me, that they wasted $2 million on. But the best part is the headline. So I'm going to read that. Faraday Future says its electric car could be more powerful than Tesla's.
Could be.
Yeah. Clickbait, exactly. We want some media attention. Mention Tesla or Apple or
It's
something.
like a movie that says inspired by true events. Well, every frickin' movie is inspired by true events.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if it was like the writer having a bad dream.
Yeah.
Right? That was a true event. I had that dream.
I also believe that this panel
Could be.
probably come up with a car. Could come up with a car
That's
just
right.
as powerful
We
as a
could,
Tesla.
we could come up with a car that
Yeah,
could be as
that
powerful.
could happen.
Could happen.
We may, if we
And I
had
could win the Powerball, too.
if we had a Chinese billionaire behind us, we'd all have very, very expensive jobs.
And if Paul won the Powerball, we'd have a better chance of making that car.
Right.
And we'd go out and have a beer.
I'd buy you guys all a beer.
I don't know why this guy left Tesla for Faraday Future. I got to think it's just the paycheck is just huge.
It must be. One thing that was interesting that he there was about that. It was on working at Tesla, and he said, I loved it up to a certain point, and then I didn't, and then I decided to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, because they added a little bit extra to his paycheck.
I guess.
A lot extra.
Or there are the sort of the stories and the rumors that Elon kind of has that Steve Jobs push people beyond what they think is possible, and maybe there's some truth to that. But they get results, but he works people really hard. But okay, back to.
I just want to do one more thing from this article, just to show you why I don't like The Verge. Okay, so here's they've got cute little pictures and little headlines and stuff, and here's the last one. Faraday Future unveils its car. Oh look, you can't really see it. Get it? It's a joke.
It's all pixelated.
Get it? See, so in other words, instead of like using editorial control and going, you know what, I had a beer with this guy and he didn't really say anything important, so we're not going to report on it, they like rip a bunch of silly fart jokes. I just, good, whatever. The Verge needed to have a headline with Tesla in it, so they got this guy to buy him a beer, and they talked about a bunch of stuff. Oh well. Is that too harsh?
In the picture, it looks like the beer or whatever they're drinking is in a clear plastic cup.
Yeah, it does.
Is it?
So, I just thought I'd mention that.
It's a quality establishment when they serve beer in a plastic cup.
Yeah.
This has got to be way easier than working at Tesla because, well, they don't have any customers, they don't have any products.
They don't have
any. He cashes his check and goes and have a beer with Verge guys and shows the pictures on his phone of what it could be.
There's no deadline to 400,000 cars.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, this could be great.
Yeah, this could be awesome. They haven't even said what it's going to be yet. That's the frustrating thing. Like, they've been so coy. Is it going to be autonomous? Is it not? They're like, it's a cutting-edge online transportation appliance. What?
Yeah,
After a $2 million race car, my bet is on Winnebago.
There's such yeah. Exactly. They're such a dreadful company. And speaking of dreadful companies, let me follow up with the last news story of the week. Yay! From Patrick's favorite site, Business Insider.
There you go.
Business Insider's tech news headline, and I quote, Uber, not Tesla, will be Apple's competition in the automobile industry. Why did I post this? Because I actually think it's a decent article. And I think it's a good point that if...
Oh, wait, now, that title is just as clickbait.
Oh,
oh my gosh.
It's Business Insider. Of course it's clickbait. Are you kidding me?
Okay, just kidding.
I mean, how far do I have to scroll on before I see the woman falling out of her top? Where is that? It's Business Insider, right? I mean, there it is, right there. Yeah, there it is. Kesha's battle with blah, blah, blah. 14 signs you're underpaid. 15 reasons the Netherlands will ruin you. Whatever. Crap site. I'm sorry. But I do think that the good part about this article is that, again, let's just pretend for a second that Apple's working on a car. if they are, and if it actually gets launched. The point isn't that it's going to be a better Tesla than Tesla makes, or it's going to be a better Ford than Ford makes. What Apple's good at when they do it right is sort of redefining the category. You know what I mean? On their own terms. There were MP3 players before the iPod, and there are still other MP3 players, I guess.
There was a CD album industry before.
Well, that had other things. That wasn't Apple's fault, believe me. And that's another series of 4 shows if you want to do. I'll be happy to go into that. I love that. Says the guy who used to work in that business. But I do think it's interesting because, again, Uber's got a ton of money. And if we're looking at shared cars and moving people away from the idea that you need to buy a car and moving people into the idea that you can have a car whenever you want one, you just have to pay us in a different manner. That's really revolutionary. And we've talked a little bit about that before, about car sharing and what apps like Uber and Lyft can do. But I do think this is an interesting take, even though it's an old one. This article was published 2 years ago.
Right, and I noticed that they didn't even update the links in the article. So if you look at the things that says "see also," they have three links, and all of them are from 2015. And like one of them, the timing for an Apple car is perfect. Well, that was last.
Still,
yeah.
Maybe Apple's working on the hydrogen car.
Well, I mean, in a sense, this is what Faraday Future claims they're doing. They're just being very coy about it. We're going to revolutionize. Maybe they are. I don't know. But I do know that as far as I know, they have no record in software development. They haven't talked about their software development. And frankly, if you're going to make something to compete with an Apple product and Uber, it damn sure is going to have some really good software.
Yeah. But the one thing Apple does, even when Apple doesn't do anything, they do something. Do you remember 5 years ago there was a rumor that Apple was going to come out with a watch?
Yeah.
And just on that rumor, all these smartwatches started coming out on the market. Everyone wanted to be in the smartwatch business before Apple was in the smartwatch business. So now there's rumors that Apple is going to come out with an autonomous electric vehicle. Now, does that mean that they're pushing the competitors? Would Tesla still be doing what they're doing? Yeah, probably. But I do think that just the rumor of Apple working on something like this is bringing credence to the entire concept and perhaps pushing the competitors to try to out-Apple before Apple releases whatever it is they're doing.
Maybe.
And the 350 or 400,000 Tesla reservations doesn't hurt either.
No. Well, which means, yeah, right. It's going to be an electric car as opposed to a hydrogen car. Because I remember how quickly that Mirai sold out. Didn't Patrick just say that?
Yeah.
Patrick, was I mean enough to Business Insider?
There you go. I'm still looking for that ad that you get, and I don't get it.
What's that?
You said someone's popping out of their top or whatever.
Sure you don't, Patrick. Sure
It's based on your previous viewing history.
There we go.
21 pics of babies with kittens that will fill your heart with joy. Let's see.
No, that definitely is not your viewing history.
21. Here's the best one. 21 things that will happen when you die. Number 11 will freak. All in caps. You out.
That means you got to hit next page like 10 times.
I know. Exactly. Oh, they're such bastards. Okay. Well, I'm going to end the show with that bastards word, and let's start our shout-outs, starting with Mr. Patrick Connor.
Okay, yeah, I have a shout out for Michael Sis. So if you've seen the documentary Charge, it's about Motos is his electric motorcycle company, and their trials and tribulations on the Isle of Man. And it's a really great documentary. And Michael's a Portland guy and recently died from cancer, taken too soon.
Yeah.
Great innovator in the electric vehicle world. So to Michael Sizz.
Good shout out, dude.
Yeah.
Very good shout out. Let's see. Boy, how do you follow that one up, Guzik?
I'll just plug my own business.
Good
Boulder
man.
Hybrid,
Good man.
BoulderHC.com. If you're in the Rocky Mountain region and have a hybrid that needs stuff or an EV that needs stuff, better call Paul.
I like that.
Better call Paul.
Yeah, Paul, the man who can rescue an EV or a hybrid anywhere.
I just last week I rescued a 232,000-mile Gen 1 Prius from Indiana. So.
And it
Keep
will
it
live
on
to fight another day.
It will.
Yay.
Exactly. It'll
How
be
many hours
driving.
to get it home, Paul?
I drove all day Saturday and all day Sunday. So
Wow.
it's a long drive.
That's dedication.
But it drove fine, even though it had a big smush in the side from a wreck. But mechanically, it was good, and the previous owner, who was a Prius Jet member, took good care of it, and we're going to fix it and keep it alive.
Good.
All
See?
right.
We do recycle these damn things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Mr. Schaefer.
I want to remind everyone, of course, about our Facebook page. That is facebook.com/whatdrivesus, all one word. And give some shout-outs to Michelle Vadabonker.
Metaboncor. Don't say that.
Vadabonker. And I know I actually know I'm pronouncing it correctly this time because Michelle actually has the pronunciation in her Facebook
No.
thing. Yes,
Wow.
it's true. It's true. So it's Michelle Vadabonker. So that was pretty cool. So I'm glad that she did that.
I had no idea.
And I'm giving her a shout out because she read and liked the article that I posted this week on aerodynamics and how aerodynamics of your vehicle can help with your mileage. Also want to give a shout out to Eric Tortensen, who I suspect may be in
Sweden.
yeah. Which is he our first non-North American person that we know of? Maybe Patrick Sparks in Australia.
Maybe by name. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm literally. I'm sorry, Eric, but I'm trolling your Facebook page. And
Yeah,
Stalking your face.
I'm stalking. I can't understand a single thing. So yeah.
Great.
Wow. Also a shout out to Alan Clark. Okay. Thanks for your for liking our links, or they're actually Patrick's links. But like I said, we've always said that we actually like to know that people are not only listening, but they're interacting with us. Philip is sending us articles, which is great, and it's kind of a throw out to everybody. If you find something that you think is interesting, if you find something that you would love to hear us either pick apart or just downright make fun of, we'd love that. Just send it to us. Send it to us in a message, and we'll read it and we'll bring it on the air.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yes. And on that note, Mark Coughlin.
Just a hello to the Waterloo Regional Volt group. If you'd like to listen to some of our posts, some Volt-centric posts, please drop by our Twitter or our Facebook page. WR Voltech is the connection. Love to see you there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
One of my favorite Twitter follows, as a matter of fact. So let me run through this, and we will move on until next week. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. If you have a Prius and you need accessories, there's one place to go. The Prius Chat shop at priuschat.com/shop. You can find us at whatdrives.us to download or stream the show, watch it on video and audio, whatever you like. Of course, you can get it through your favorite podcatcher, whether that's Stitcher or iTunes or Google Play. Thank you, Patrick. By the way, I think we're available now on Google Play. So there you go. Let's see what else. You can follow us on Twitter, too. We're at What Drives Us, oddly enough.
Surprise.
Who would have thought? Yeah, we got that before Mercedes-Benz did. They stole it from us anyway. We had that name 2 years before they started using it.
Chat/shop?
I did mention that.
Okay.
I was so quick with that mention that you missed it.
It just rolled off the tongue. You got it.
I know. I'm getting good at that. PriusChat.shop. No,
That's hard to say.
PriusChat.com/shop. That's what it is. Okay, enough. I'm spending the whole time plugging Cooper's business. The guy's in Egypt. He can't even come on the show. We wish him the best. Hopefully he'll be back someday. No sarcasm there, kids. I want to thank my panelists, Patrick Connor, Paul Guzik, Tony Schaefer, and Mark Coughlin. As always, gentlemen, you guys rock.
Thank
you.
you.
I say?
It's always fun.
And as always, a huge thank you from all of us to all of you, our viewers and our listeners. We love you. Thank you. Download us next week and find out what drives us. We'll give the music a minute, right?
Of course.
There we go. And I can do this, and I can be silly. See ya next week!
Bye!
Yeah.